Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. I appreciate being asked to do this. Today, I am going to speak to you about working with pigments. How I got started this time with pigments is a client of mine wanted me to letter a Bible verse of Psalms 46:10. And one of them was to be done in Romanian. So I thought, well, okay. So I showed him an Art Deco figure that I had done for something else, and he really liked it and thought that would work just fine as a side to the Bible verse. So I asked him, I said, well, I'm thinking of what colors. Do you have any particular color in mind? He said, well, no. So I thought, well, Romania, let me look at what colors are in the flag. So I did. And the colors came up chrome yellow, which I'd never heard of, but chrome yellow, vermilion red, and vermilion red, and cobalt blue. Well, I knew I had the red and the blue, but I didn't have chrome yellow. So I go and I look, because I'm thinking watercolor or gouache, because that's what I mostly use. I couldn't find chrome yellow anywhere at Dick Blick, Jerry's Art Supply, Azel Art. Nobody had chrome yellow. So I searched it. I Googled that stuff. And it came up with this website called Natural Pigments. And they had a pigment in chrome yellow. So I bought it. And it's chrome yellow primrose. So anyway, so I ordered that and it came in and I did it and he really liked it. And so I painted it in the colors of the Romanian flag, and my client was most pleased. And then I did the English version, which is this, and excuse the paint on the bottom, but I did this in pigments as well. I did the grape leaves, the grapes, and the vines in pigment, but I lettered in gouache. You can letter in pigment, but somehow when I tested it with the lettering and the pigment, I didn't like it as well as I did with the black gouache, so that's what I used. And so it's a big variety. They have black, they have silver, and it's all pigments. So what I did was, now when you're mixing, so anyway, and when I'm done, so this was the thing that I did, the painting that I did for the Romanian Bible verse. And I used, it's not a good copy, but the original is in Romania. So, but as you can see, the top flower is the chrome yellow, and then the red is down in here, and then the blue is at the bottom of the object, and then the green is leaves. And I used the pigments that I had plus this. So what I learned is when you're mixing pigments, it's a fine powder, and you want to be very careful because they can be very toxic. So I put on a mask. And then what I do is I scoop out just a little bit of my yellow and I put it in my dish. And you don't need a lot, but I just use these little bitty spoons. And then I add gum arabic to it. And I just pour some in there. And I didn't measure it, but it's probably about 3 or 4 of these little spoons full of gum arabic. And you mix it up. So what you want to do though is you can't start painting right away when you're using gum arabic when you're using the pigments, because it has to, you know, it's fine granules. So you want to make sure before you start using them, painting with them, that you want to make sure that it's dissolved well. So it takes a while. And my first run with it, I painted one and I didn't wait long enough. So I had to add some more, a little bit more gum arabic, and then wait till it dissolved, and then I could start painting with it. But it was very interesting, and and then I did the Bible verse. I did the Bible verse in English, but I did the grape leaves, and I cut the top off when I was cutting this, I'm sorry. And then I did this. Now this lettering I did in gouache, black gouache. I didn't use, but I used the pigments for the grape leaves and the grapes and the stems on that one. So anyway, so that's how I got in with this project, and the man really liked it, and like I say, he had me do more. And what I did was I had G-clay prints made of them. I didn't just put them out on, I sent them to a place called Cooperlocks, and I get G-clay prints made out of all of them. So they look on nice paper, and I had it done on nice watercolor paper. And they can also print on canvas. Well, while I was looking and deciding what to do about this program, I went back to the Natural Pigments, and they had a lot on pigments. And they have geologists that go out into the countryside. A lot of it is in Italy, to show and to find the minerals that they can use for certain colors. And so they have, so if you go on their website, which you can just look up Natural Pigments, and it'll come up, and they'll have a whole rundown of pigments. So so what I'm going to do is I'll go over that in a little bit, but I want to go, since a lot of you may not have worked with pigments, before I go into this, I want to make sure that you know that you can also mix the pigments with watercolor. It works well with acrylic paint, oil paint. It can be done by itself. There's a process of wax. You can use it. I'm not familiar with that. Sherry might be, I don't know. But anyway, you can use it with wax. I mean, it's just some various things that you can use pigments and mix them with. But when I worked on my project, I only used pigments, and I didn't mix them with anything. I just used the pigments. So basically, I wanted to know, well, you know, when we were taking the Reggie class, what is a pigment? Well, it's a colored material that is completely or nearly insoluble in water. And that's another reason that when I was learning about pigments, I use gum arabic with it. And in contrast, dyes are typically soluble, at least at some stage in their use, but generally dyes are often organic compounds, whereas pigments are often inorganic compounds. And they have, they're of prehistoric and historic value, which includes ochre, charcoal, and lapis. Some of the blues have been made out of lapis, and that's another reason, you know, some of them, there is a pigment of malachite. It's made out of malachite, and it is a pigment. I don't have that one. But anyway, I don't know, it's just like all other materials, the color of pigment arises because they absorb only certain wavelengths of visible light. The bonding properties of the material determine the wavelength and efficiency of light absorption. Light of other wavelengths are reflected or scattered. The reflected light spectrum defines their colors. Now, this natural pigments, as I said earlier, they have geologists that go about, and they mostly do in Italy, and we'll share the screen and show some of this, but they have various areas, and the color of the pigment is determined by the area that it is found in. And so there's earth pigments, and then there's oxide, iron oxide pigments, and they're from different areas or sections of the earth. But minerals have been used as colorants since prehistoric times, and early humans used paint for aesthetic purposes such as body decoration, and pigments and paint grinding equipment believed to have been 350,000 to 400,000 years ago have been reported to be in a cave in the Twin Rivers near Lusaka, Zambia. And the ochre iron oxide was the first color of paint, which I thought was interesting. A favored blue pigment was derived from lapis lazuli. Pigments used based on minerals and clays often bear the name of the city or region where they were founded, or mined actually. Raw sienna, burnt sienna come from Siena, Italy, while raw umber and burnt umber come from Umbria, U-M-B-R-I-A. These pigments are among the easiest to synthesize, and chemists created modern colors based on the originals. These were more consistent than colors mined from the original ore bodies, but the place names remained. Also found in many Paleolithic and Neolithic cave paintings were discovered to be red ochre and then hydrated yellow ochre, charcoal, or carbon black. And those have been used since prehistoric times. There are synthetic pigments, and there's one called white lead, which is basic carbonate, and there is the Egyptian blue, and another synthetic is calcium copper silicate, made by heating glass with a copper source, such as malachite. And so there's various different ways. There's also titan, T-I-T-I-A-N. Indian yellow was once produced by collecting now this I found was very interesting. The Indian yellow was once produced by collecting the urine of cattle that had been fed only mango leaves. Dutch and Flemish painters of the 17th and 18th centuries favored it for its luminous qualities and often used it for their paintings. However, since mango leaves were not nutritionally valuable for the cattle, the practice of harvesting Indian yellow was eventually declared to be inhumane because the leaves were not beneficial to the cattle. So modern hues of Indian yellow are made from synthetic pigments, and vermilion has been particularly replaced by cadmium reds. And so this is just some history of some of the pigments that are available. And this Natural Pigments company just has oodles of them. In fact, I was thinking I was going to print some small pictures of the paints of the earth pigments that they use, and it was 22 pages, so I guess that's not gonna, we'll figure out a way to get that up on the line. But anyway, so I'm gonna see now if this is ready to, I'm gonna, I got a little other color in my brush, so that's not good, but I didn't clean my brushes good, but you want to be sure and clean your brushes pretty good. But anyway, so you just you know, like paint, and I mean, it comes out and it dries. It takes a while to dry. It's not like you know, some of the other paint. Well, all paints take a while to dry, but anyway, so this is the color of yellow that I use. This is the chrome yellow, and I know it's not on watercolor paper, but at any rate, it's a real pretty color of yellow, like I say. But one thing that and crema is the one that was introduced to us by Reggie, I'm sorry, and I bought the whole designer set. It's an interior design set. I bought that, and I may be repeating myself, but anyway, it has quite a few colors in it. It even, you know, has cobalt blue and all the things that are mentioned, that some of them are have already mentioned in this set. But the Natural Pigments has, and their website, they show places in Italy where they obtain the rocks and the earth things, you know, to make the pigments. And so this is a map of Italy that shows some of the areas where they get them. And so this is a location in Italy, and it's in Verona province in Veneto, Italy. And you can see the color of the earth, you know, and the landscape here. It's kind of green. And I thought that was rather interesting. And then below is a sample of the rock or the mineral that they use. And it's 10 centimeters. So they get a thing out of, I guess, pigments out of that after they grind it up. But it's a fine brownish brown powdered pigment from Italy. And they're natural pigments that can be used in all mediums, such as tempera, oil, and watercolor, and obtained by natural earths colored by the oxides of iron and manganese, excuse me. And anyway, so I'm not going to go into the whole history of that, but here is the Verona green earth, and you can see the picture. It's green and earth colors here, and it's a natural mineral, celadonite, celadonite, which is a greenish mineral of potassium, iron, and aluminum. And so you can kind of see, at least that's what I see, is some of these, you know, can be toxic. So if you're mixing them, probably, you know, it's wise to mix them and wear a mask. And once they're mixed, I don't always wear a mask. But I also make sure when I'm mixing them that I have I don't have a fan on. In my studio, I have a ceiling fan, so I make sure that that's not on so the particles stay in one place. These colors vary from pale green to bright green, bluish green, olive green, and black green, depending on the constituent elements. And so this is also, they originate from a mountain range in the Italian Alps, and it's located in the province of Trento and Verona. So that's for that. And then they have the Italian yellow earth, which is a mountain. It looks like a mountainous area with a lake in between. And it's a natural iron oxide hydroxide mineral known as geophyte from quarries in northern Italy. And it's found in mixtures of limonite, weather deposits of pyrites. Now, I don't know what a pyrite is, but I'm sure some of you may know. But anyway, it is yellow earth from hilly areas of Verona that are washed, purified, and then ground with a hammer mill, excuse me. So then you have the red, the ERCOLANO red. It is a ground natural red earth, and you can see the coloration of the outside area where it is found. So this pigment comes from a small basalt quarry officially named Cattigino quarry. And I'm not very good at pronouncing Italian, so I could do Mamma Mia pretty well when I was over there, but at any rate, so it comes out in red. It forms red pigments. And then there's the Italian burnt umber warm, which comes from this area of, and it comes from the Castel di Casio near the city of Bologna. And it's derived from a natural mineral from northern Italy, and is it's set in furnaces and cooked in furnaces until it is a reddish brown. And the pigment used is in tempera, oil, and watercolor, and obtained from natural clays colored by the oxides of the iron and the manganese. And it's also found in abandoned quarries in the village of Liseo, which belongs to the municipality of Castel di Casio, also near the city of Bologna. And then the Italian raw sienna, which is, you can see kind of the colors in the earth here. It's a natural yellow-brown earth composed of several minerals, mostly geophyte from iron oxide, and it also has magnesium-bearing minerals in it. So the manganese content of these earth pigments is what distinguishes it from the yellow ochre and gives the raw siennas their characteristic greenish color or dark brown color, as in burnt sienna. And it is found near a little city called Siena, Siena, and it's in the region of Tuscany, which is a beautiful area of Italy. And it's also, so that's another area where it says the clay soil of Tuscany near this area is rich in limonite, a term used for unidentified hydroxides and oxides of iron, but with no visible crystals, and a yellowish brown streak. So anyway, I just thought those were interesting. Then they have a whole section of the iron. They have those are the earth pigments, and this website has, and I did not choose to go into those, but they have iron oxide pigments, which include such colors as the iron oxide yellow, which is dark. They have the iron oxide yellow greenish and the iron oxide yellow orange. They have iron oxide a red medium and red dark. And I mean, they have a good many colors, but there was only one page of those types of the iron oxide pigments on their website. So, but you could, if you want to, it's just natural pigments, and you can look them up on Google or something, and it comes up. But anyway, I thought this was a very interesting. I just found that it was very interesting to learn more about pigments, because we took that Reggie's class a year, back in, I think it was '07, and we had one weekend of pigments, and I painted with them a little bit then for the class, because we had an assignment that we had to take the next month that we had a class, and I used them then, and I've rarely used them since, and that was in '07 until I got this assignment or this commission from this man, and so I got interested, and I thought, I'm going to study pigments a little bit and learn a little bit more about them, and maybe I can start incorporating them some in my calligraphy, because usually what I do is I'll paint something and then use lettering with it, or I'll come up with a verse, or like the Lord's Prayer, and then paint a frame or flowers around it or something, and I'm going to start using pigments because I have so many, I need to use them up. But anyway, but you can also, you can also mix them with, you can also mix your pigments with egg. Now, I have not tried the egg, and that's probably something I could do one of these days, but I remember studying a lot and intrigued by the St. John Bible that Donald Jackson did. His lifelong dream was to do the St. John's Bible, and he used for the lettering and the paints, they used the paints from where the original scribes back in way long time ago used, and they would mix them with egg. And if you are interested in learning more about that, there is a website that you can go on, and you can see some of the examples of Donald and some of the other artists mixing the paints that they used from the ancient scribes with egg. But you can also use egg with the pigments. I like using gum arabic because it makes it shiny. It just, I don't know. And you can add a little water as you go along to thin it down if you think it's too thick. But have always found that the gum arabic works a lot better with it than just mixing it with water and trying to work it with that. It just gives it a smoother finish, I guess you could say. And but you can also add some egg tempera to it, and you can mix it with anything. So I think that's probably about all I might have. I'm gonna do this. purple. But anyway, let me see if I can do, let's see what else. Star gold. Let's see. Grid. That's okay. This is just a workshop. Oh, good. I like this pen, this nib. We're playing. So I mixed a little black with it. So you could get color variations